Money on my mind, looking for a dime. James Locke in the house, gonna help you shine.
Welcome to the Poole Locke YouTube channel. I'm James Locke. Today we're going to answer some of the Ask James questions of the day. Our first question from Debbie. My husband is pushing really hard to retire early, so what do we need to be aware of? You know, I don't know what early really means. She didn't say, right? You didn't say, Debbie, how old you are, your husband, things like that. So we don't really know, and that's all right, right? You can't answer right now. But if you want to retire, let's say in the early 60s, 60, 62, 63, 64, well then you're going to get Social Security benefits, but they're going to be less. And you have to plan for lower Social Security benefits. Now let's say instead you want to retire in your late 50s. Let's call it age 57. Well, now there's a 5-year gap where you can't get any Social Security from 57 to 62. So now you've got to be able to have enough income or take money out of principal to fund that first 5 years of retirement before Social Security kicks in. Also, if one of you has a defined benefit pension plan, when that old-fashioned type of pension where you get income guaranteed for the rest of your life, many of those pensions, the income from which doesn't kick in that young of an age, right? So you have to find out about from the plan documents or things like that, if you have such a pension, when it kicks in, and then determine your Social Security as well. How big is that gap, right? How much is the reduction if you retire at 62 or 63 versus 67? And then, you retire before that, how big is that gap, right? But there's more than that, because then there's medical insurance. You get on Medicare at age 65, so if you retire before 65, you have to be able to afford private pay insurance for those years, and that needs to get factored in also. So let me tell you, the private insurance costs can be substantial, $1,000, $1,500 a month per person before Medicare kicks in. So that's a significant expense that many early retirees don't fully anticipate. You have to make sure you maximize income from your investments. So let's say you try to squeeze every penny out of your investments. Maybe you can get 6% income. Take the amount of money you have in retirement investments, multiply it by 0.06, right, for 6%, and say, can we live off that? Or, can we live off that plus Social Security when Social Security kicks in? If the answer is yes, then maybe you can retire early. If the answer is no, then go back to your husband and say, okay, are you willing to work part-time, right? Because the trade-off, Deb, it might be that maybe he can work a few more years and retire completely, right? Retiring early, retire completely versus part-time, so to speak, right? For a good portion of retirement. So he may choose the latter, but he might choose the former. He might say, you know what? Let me work hard. Let me work hard for a few more years, full-time, and let that money kind of grow and percolate and let Social Security benefits accrue so that when I finally do retire, I can retire 100%. So let me add another kind of critical consideration, the investment strategy for income. When you're looking at early retirement, you need a diversified income strategy. What does that include? Well, it might include dividend-paying stocks that provide consistent income, bond ladders to create a predictable cash flow. Then there's real estate investment trusts, REITs. They generate regular distributions. Maybe potential part-time consulting work, freelance work to kind of supplement investment income. Remember, the key is not just accumulating money, but creating a sustainable income stream that can support your lifestyle without depleting your principal too quickly. The traditional 4% rule becomes even more critical and potentially more conservative when you're looking at a potentially longer retirement period due to an early retirement. So those are the factors to consider, and that's the conversation I would have with them. Hey, that's a great question. Thank you so much. And if you want to send in your question, you can do so. You can email it to us at poollocke@poollocke.com. Moving on, let's get to our second question today. And this is from Howard, and he says, I'm really enjoying working. I love my job, but my wife wants me to retire early so we can travel. How can I explain to her the benefits of working longer? All right. Howard, I wonder how long you've been married, maybe 30 plus years. And it's really nice that your wife, wants you to retire and be home. That's pretty cool. That's the real dream, I think. I mean, usually by 30 years or so, most women are saying, nope, keep working, stay out of the house. You're going to drive me crazy. Work overtime. Well, Howard, first of all, you sound like you're a lucky man, that she wants you to be here and around. But let me answer that question very specifically. We have talked about kind of the first pro is that you can save longer, right? You can let your money compound more. Now, when you get over the age of 50, now you can put more money in your IRAs, more money in your 401ks. The contribution limits are so that you can save more money. Also, you can let your money compound and grow longer. Plus, if you go to the end, let's say later on, like age 70, if that's what retiring late means to you, now you get maximum Social Security benefits, which at age 70 are almost double what they are at age 62. So literally the benefits can be double. If you have a traditional pension plan, that pension plan will continue to accrue benefits, at least through age 65. And then you get a higher monthly income there. And when you retire at age 73 or 73 and later, your required minimum distributions from your IRAs, they're going to kick in, and that's extra income. So the point is not only can your accounts grow faster, and you could put more money away, but also you're funding a shorter period. So now instead of having a 50, 60, 70% income buffer, maybe you only need a 20 or 30% buffer. A little extra room just in case, and that can be sufficient. But also, if you go past 65, your Medicare kicks in, you've got that covered. You can get your Medicare supplement organized, maybe even have a plan for long-term care, right? So now, when you retire, you can stay retired and not have to worry about going back in the workforce. However, I'm sure one of the things your wife wouldn't want is for you to retire and then have to go back part-time, or to feel kind of the pressure of scrimping and saving, or knowing that, she's stressing you out when she wants to do fun things with you. You want to do fun things, but you're afraid to spend the money right now, right? So the more money you have by the time you pull the trigger and finally do retire, the bigger chance you have of staying retired and retiring with the kind of goals and lifestyle that you want. Now let me break down some additional financial and lifestyle benefits of working longer that you can discuss with your wife, Howard. Investment portfolio strength, right? Working longer will allow you to continue to build your retirement portfolio. Right? It'll allow you to ride out market volatility. It could potentially increase your overall nest egg by 20 or 30%, right? To reduce that sequence of returns risk during those early retirement years. Then there's healthcare costs, right? And mitigating that. Delaying retirement provides significant healthcare advantages. One, you get continued employer-sponsored health insurance. That's always good. You get more time to build that HSA, that health savings account, and the balance in there. So it'll reduce out-of-pocket medical expenses before Medicare eligibility, right? Potential to address any kind of health concerns while still working and insured on that, work plan. There's psychological and social benefits. It's not just about the money, right? Working longer has some benefits, right? It can provide continued mental stimulation. It'll allow you to maintain professional social networks. It can give a sense of purpose and achievement in what you're doing. It can also ease the transition into retirement on a gradual basis. Now, there's also travel considerations, right? Ironically, working longer can actually enhance some travel opportunities, right? You can build a more robust travel fund. You can have more financial flexibility for higher quality experiences. You can potentially negotiate more flexible work arrangements or sabbaticals, right? You can accumulate more vacation time or travel rewards. Now, investment diversification is important as well, right? Continuing to work creates multiple income streams. Remember, in retirement, it's all about the income. So, salary income allows you to continue to add to retirement accounts and retirement contributions, right? There's potential for part-time consulting or freelance work and delaying Social Security to maximize that benefit. However, the key is having an honest, collaborative conversation with your wife about shared goals, financial realities, and mutual dreams, right? It's not just about working forever, but about creating the most secure and enjoyable retirement possible. So that's my best advice, Howard. Howard, don't be a coward. Go talk to her and tell her all the reasons why and have that conversation. And of course, if you're in poor health, well, that might change things, right? That might mean something different, but assuming you're healthy, hopefully that conversation helps. Howard, thanks for the awesome question. As always, if you'd like to send in your questions, you can do so by emailing them to poollocke@poollocke.com. If you like what you heard today, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. I'm James Locke, your retirement income source. See you next time.
Money on my mind, looking for a dime. James Locke in the house, gonna help you shine. Retirement is near, don't you live in fear. Listen up, my friend, let me make it clear.